Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So my name is Ariana Pareja. I am with Remind. So just a quick background story on kind of why I'm here and why I'm so obsessed with data and why I want to share everything that I've learned about data and technology with you all today. My husband and I, we had a real estate team for 14 years with Keller Williams, and over that course of 14 years, we closed about 4,000 transactions and close to $1 billion worth of business. And so over that course of 14 years, we stumbled upon so many different ways to incorporate technology and go forward with it and embrace it, and that's what I want to share with you all today. So Remind is a member benefit that is covered by your MyBoard dues, so you have access to it through that dashboard. But just to give you a quick background, so the first 6 years that we were in the real estate business, we averaged about 33 units per year and an average GCI of 213,000 and an average sales volume of a little over 8 million. So the first 6 years in the business, everything was going great. We didn't have any systems or processes. We were more referral based. At that time, we were just hitting up every single one of our sorority sisters and fraternity brothers' parents and begging them to let us sell their children a house. And that's kind of how it was the first 6 years. And then we got to a point where my husband and I, we said, how can we really get to the next level? So this is the end of 2008. This is right when all of social media is starting to get really big, right? 2008 is when YouTube and social media, LinkedIn was created. That's that time when we were having this huge shift into technology. And so we got on planes, trains, and automobiles, and we flew all across the country, and we interviewed every single top producing agent in the country with Keller Williams. And we found there was a common ground between all of these top producers. And that common ground was that all of these agents were embracing technology. They were creating a pathway, and they were using technology to get in front of their clients. So the last 8 years that we were in the business, from 2009 to 2016, we averaged 437 units per year. So that was a huge jump. We went from selling 33 homes per year, which was great, it was amazing, to getting to 437, which was, for us, it was mind-blowing. It was a very big shift for us mentally and emotionally, and we had to be very open-minded of how to get there, because we all have our limiting beliefs of, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. But once we opened our minds that this can and will be done, that's when we had this huge shift. So it was a combination of pure grit and the will, but it was also recognizing how we could use technology to elevate our business. So what we found when we went around the country and we were interviewing all these different agents, we found two big aha reasons as to why they were doing so much production. So we R&D. Does anyone in the room know what R&D means? That's what people think, but it's actually rip off and duplicate. And that's actually that's what we did. So in other words, we were modeling. So we went around the country, we found out what everyone else was doing. We said, all right, we're going to go home and we're going to do the exact same thing. And it worked. And what we found was that rip off and duplicate with the systems and processes. So what we found was that people is what make and break your company, right? So if you're trying to grow, having the right assistant, having the right vendors that you're working with, having the right alliances with your title company so that everything works smoothly. So people, processes. You create the processes with the people. The technology is what combines it all together and what makes it sustainable and scalable. And so we were finding that every single big team was embracing technology in some way, shape, or form, whether it was through social media, whether it was through their CRM, whether it was from using data, right? Mining for data and figuring out a system and process and a follow-up lead incubation. So that's what we did. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of what we did, I want to go over some of NAR's national statistics. So I'm a big data nerd. I actually read this whole entire thick 400-page document or what it was from front to back, as well as the Zillow Group Consumer Housing Trends Report. So whether it's Inman News or any real estate blog that you're reading, everyone's always talking about what are the changing demands in the marketplace, what are people looking for. And so 52% of buyers consider renting while they're shopping for a home, a number that's even higher among millennial younger buyers. So I think Angie had just touched on this, and this is a true statement. Over 52% nationwide are considered renting. So what does that mean? That means that millennium home buyers are waiting longer to buy a first home than previous generations. The modern day starter homes is nearly as large as the median home for move-up buyers. I'm a true testament to this. So my husband and I, we had our large real estate team, we had multiple investment properties, but we still rented. Our primary residence, we rented. And it wasn't until I was about 7 or 8 months pregnant and I was really big and I was like, all right, I'm ready to nest. Let's nest. Let's get a backyard. And I want, the playroom and I want a nursery. That's when we decided, okay, now it's time to get a primary residence. And we went into a larger home. And the same thing happened with all of my girlfriends who were all the same age, and they all, when they were looking for a house with their husbands, they weren't looking for condos, they weren't looking for the smaller townhouse or the smaller Ramberloo. They were looking for the 4 or 5 bedroom house that they could grow into. They rented for a much longer period of time. So for those of you that say, I don't want to deal with rentals, I don't do rentals, I want you to rethink your strategy. Maybe hire an assistant, a younger assistant that can work with the rentals, and you take those leads and you incubate them over the next 2 years, because guess what? Those rental leads are going to turn into buyer leads, and those buyer leads are going to turn into a much larger traditional starter home. So 75% of buyers hire a real estate agent during the buying process. So that's NAR statistic on that. Millennium home buyers undertake far more social home searches, seeking input from friends, relatives, and neighbors. 58% of the time versus the silent generation who poll friends just 37% of the time. Millennials scrutinize more agents, asking friends and family about their experiences with agents and reading online reviews more than any other generation. Now, 10 years ago, the NAR statistic said that 70% of people choose their agent on the first meeting. That is not true with this generation anymore. Matter of fact, millennials are now interviewing 2.5 realtors prior to making their final decision. Right now, in this room, I guarantee there's at least one realtor who's being interviewed right now and they don't even know it. So think about that for a second. You are getting interviewed before you even meet your prospective client. They're putting your name into Google and they're seeing what pops up. And if nothing pops up, that is worse than a bad review on Zillow. Think about that. If you have, how searchable are you in Google? If I put in your name and I put in so-and-so realtor, are good reviews coming up? Are bad reviews coming up? Or worse, is nothing coming up? Like you don't even exist. Think about how you make decisions. I've been in Indianapolis for the last 2 days, and every decision I've made has been by some type of third-party review. When I booked my hotel, I looked up at TripAdvisor and I read reviews on the hotel. When I picked what restaurant I wanted to go to, I looked it up on Yelp. Even to the point of when I'm getting my Uber driver, I'm looking at the Uber driver's reviews. I'm like, how many stars does he have? Do I want to get into that car? And we all are doing that. That is our consumer behavior now. So I guarantee you, if people are looking up their hotel, their hairdresser, their restaurant that they're going to go to, they're going to look up the realtor that they're going to work with. And what are they going to find? You guys have to keep that in mind, that this generation, everybody is checking. So what is your digital footprint? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have any type of reviews on Google or on Zillow? Or any other, on Realtor.com, do you have reviews somewhere that people can see what other people are saying about you? When it comes to choosing an agent, millennials and other generations share their top priority: a sense that an agent is trustworthy and responsive. Now, I'm going to say that again: trustworthy and responsive. How are people validating whether or not you're trustworthy? Yes, they can ask their friend or family, hey, what do you think of so-and-so? But what they really want to know is what everybody else thinks of you. So they're going to go back and check reviews. Do you have good reviews online? Do you have any testimonials that you can provide? That is what people are looking for. And they're all also looking for you to be responsive to their needs. How responsive are you? If I send you an email, if I'm your client and I send you an email, how long does it take for you to get back to me? Does it take a day, 2 days? If I message you on your Facebook page, are you responding to me right away, or are you waiting a day or two? This is the era of instant gratification. So respond timely. 43% of buyers find the house they ultimately buy before they select an agent, according to NAR. 43%. That is a lot. That is a big percentage of people that are actually finding the house that they're going to buy before they find you. Consumers have so much access to so many different portals to find homes. If you guys think that your job is to print off listings and unlock doors, pack it up, go home. Because that is not the case anymore. Nowadays buyer, they know what they want and they're seeing it before you even have a chance to do so. So think of that when you're going to a buyer's presentation. When we had our real estate team, we actually put it right into our buyer's presentation. We said, by the way, nice to meet you. I guarantee you there's a good chance that you're going to find the home before I do. But I'm here to walk you through the legal transaction portion of this and be your guide along the way. So set the expectation correctly. Today's sellers are more often members of Generation X, 38%. And the majority, 63% of all sellers, are listing a home for the first time. So now more than ever, it's important that we, as practitioners, are involved in the negotiation process. We always say, you know, as realtors, our job is to make sure that nobody gets sued, right? So sellers' top regret was that they didn't make more time to prepare for a sale. Millennial sellers are just as likely as older generations to use an agent for a sale. However, millennials are more likely than older generations to use online resources in their sale as well. So back to that whole being responsiveness thing and adding value to your client. If I ask you a question about a home inspection or a home warranty and I send you an email and it takes you a day to get back to me, do you think that I'm just going to sit around and wait for you to get back to me? Absolutely not. I've got the worldwide internet at my fingertips. I'm just going to get on Google and I'm going to read blogs and I'm going to look up Wikipedia and I'm going to figure it out myself. And then once I figure it out, I'm going to come up to you and I'm going to say, you know what, I did part of your job. I want to negotiate down your commission. Who's ever had that happen to them before, right? That happens all the time. These younger buyers saying, well, I'm doing all the work, why should I pay you your full commission? Let's negotiate your commission. So you have to be that expert resource and you have to be available right there in real time. Sellers look to their agents most often for pricing help in contract negotiation. Millennials tend to rely on their agent for legal advice in determining the best time to sell their home. So 50% of sellers are looking for help on pricing. So that's a good statistic. That means that people are still, regardless of with all these resources, they still need us. They still need us as the practitioner to walk them through the transaction. When marketing their homes, millennials are more likely than older sellers to use video footage, about 29%. And they like to promote their listing on social media, about 28%. So that goes back to the digital footprint. You can't advertise on social media if you don't have any social media channels. If you don't have a YouTube channel, if you don't have an Instagram page, if you don't have a Facebook page, how are you going to advertise on their behalf? Now, you and I, we all know that having a high definition video of a listing is great. It's awesome. It's a great marketing piece. Is it going to sell the house? Absolutely not. However, is it going to help you land your next listing? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because sellers want to hear, oh, you're forward thinking, you're innovative, you're going to spend time marketing my property. I'll go with you because you provide me a high definition video. For every single listing that we did when we ran our team, we provided a high definition 2.5-minute video. For our luxury listings, we provided a video with actors, and we created a mini commercial. And we put those mini commercials on YouTube. Now, did those little mini commercials account for any new sales? Absolutely not. But when we were in a listing presentation and we said, hey, we're not only going to give you an HD video, we're going to give you an HD video with actors to promote your house, they said, wow, that's awesome. Can I be one of the actors in that video? Absolutely. Can you share it on your YouTube and your Facebook? Absolutely. So now we're both sharing it. So my point is, have that digital footprint. So this is the May 2017 cover of The Economist. So everyone take a look at this picture. This is a picture in the middle of the ocean. It looks like what used to be oil rigs. And now we see Facebook, Google, Tesla, Amazon, Uber, right? Microsoft. This is the new commodity. This is the new sought-after commodity, data. And all of these companies are providing data to different companies to then be able to market to them. So this image gets everyone upset a little bit because we see the kids looking down at their phone. This is the world that we live in. I see at least 2 people in this room right now that are looking down at their phone. This is the world that we live in. We all look down at our phones. This is where we live. This is where we have our eyes. Can everyone repeat after me? I know it's like late in the afternoon, everyone's tired, but can everybody repeat after me? If the product is free, you are the product. If the product is free, you are the product. So this is my husband. This is our business partner, Danny. They are about the same age, same ethnicity, same income, both homeowners. We live at 1105 Lincoln Avenue. He lives at 1107. It doesn't get weird at all. We purchased one large lot. We subdivided it. We built 2 identical floor plans. We were going to sell them. We ended up keeping them as primary residences. So he's not only our business partner, but our next door neighbor too. We all get along great though, luckily. So Leo, my husband and I, these are actual Instagram ads that have popped up in his Instagram feed. So what you all don't know is that we're married with 2 kids. Every single year in December, we go to Disneyland. So in my husband's ad feeds, he gets Disney Vacation Club ads and little girl ballet classes. My daughter's 3.5 years old. Now, Danny over here, he is a single bachelor, playboy, and he gets ads for Vegas and questionable dating sites. Can you imagine if these marketers had accidentally crossed the lines and sent these ads to 1105 Lincoln Avenue and these ads to 1107? My husband and I would have some serious marital problems, and Danny would go to jail, right? So this is me, my husband, and my 2 kids, and this is Danny. Now, these were their profile pictures, okay? This is the strangest part. This photo of Daniel was taken in Vegas at a racetrack. So that is how far deep into the technology and data that we are, that companies are recognizing things by photos and they're marketing to you based on that data. And this is a true statement. When I posted my sonogram picture on Facebook, I posted a sonogram picture of when I was pregnant with my son, I started getting ads for prenatal vitamins the next week. So remember, if you are on Google, if you're on Yahoo, if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Evite, Foursquare, OpenTable, Yelp, any of these apps, they are selling your data. Anytime you order an Uber and wherever you're traveling to, they are selling that data. So if the product is free, you are the product. Taxi cab medallions. So I just want to touch on this a little bit. So at the last turn of the Great Depression in New York City, people were trying to find a way to make money. And there were 30,000 people, a little over 30,000 people, that were just taking their car out and picking up random strangers and trying to make a little bit of extra cash for, to feed themselves. And with that came a lot of problems because it wasn't regulated. A lot of safety issues, kidnappings, car accidents. So in 1937, the mayor had signed the Haas Act to basically introduce the official taxi licenses and the medallion system that remains in place today. This law limited the total number of cab licenses to 16,900 to keep it regulated. And so the taxi cab industry went 77 years without any disruption. 2009, the founders of Uber were walking out of dinner in Paris on a cold, rainy night, and they said, oh man, wouldn't it be nice if we could just press a button and a car shows up and we don't have to call anybody and we don't have to pay cash and we don't have to wait to see if I just press a button, they come, and it'd be so frictionless and seamless that a car just picks me up. So that was 2009. In 2014, the New York City taxi cab medallions traded for as high as $1.3 million. Just 3 years later after Uber was founded, so that was 2014, 2017, 3 years later, the New York City traded for $241K, which is the lowest trade in the 21st century. Does everybody see that? It went from 1.3 to 241. According to a recent presentation prepared for Capital One Financial Corp, investors, some 81% of its $690 million in loans for taxi medallions, are at risk of default. So think about that. Think about that when you are interacting with your clients. How can you provide a frictionless, seamless process? Are you working with a lender that's making things easier for your client or harder for your client? Are you working with a lender or a title company that says, let me fax over that stuff versus DocuSign? Are you making things easier? We are living in the most important attention shift of our generation. So big that the last time we've had a shift this big, it was when TV ate radio's lunch. And now we are in this shift. We went from radio to TV, now to mobile. This is the remote control of our lives. Everything we do is controlled by our phone. So think about that. How much things are changing, and embrace it. And I don't say all this stuff to scare you about technology. I'm saying it because the agents that embrace technology and face it head forward are going to be the ones that really, really stand out and make it over the next 10, 20 years. You can Google, you can look up on YouTube all types of ways to climb Mount Everest. And you can watch YouTube videos on what to pack and what to prepare for. But when you get to Mount Everest, you need a local expert, which is called a Sherpa, who lives at the base of the Himalayas, that's going to take you through the mountains and show you how to get through your journey. You all need to be that local Sherpa in your market. You need to take that client and walk them through the process as an expert. Thank you.